Good afternoon and welcome to a special Retail Week edition of the 660 Club, the only place where you can meet 6 game-changing startups in 60 minutes. I'm Jeremy Bassett. I'm CEO of CoCubed, a London-based digital transformation agency. And at CoCubed, our approach to digital transformation is to connect global retailers with startups who are changing the industry. Here's a 30-second overview of what we do. At CoCubed, we're passionate about democratizing innovation, and we want to make it easier for retailers with challenges to meet startups with solutions. It's fair to say that there's no sector more in need of transformation or innovation right now than the retail industry. But to use that grossly overused phrase, these are challenging times, and especially for retailers. But in challenge, there is also opportunity. And that is what we're going to be seeing today. We're partnering with Retail Week to bring you this special edition of the 660 Club. And over the next 4 days, you'll be hearing from startups and retailers who are pioneering the future across the industry. We're going to be looking at this in 4 different tribes. And today we're going to be beginning with the customer champions, startups who are revolutionizing the customer experience. So to tell us more about the tribes and from Retail Week, please welcome Poppy. Poppy, welcome to the club.
Thanks for having me.
So Poppy, obviously Retail Week Live is a physical event and most people would know about that. But instead of the usual summer slot, we're now going to be taking that into October, or instead of the normal March slot, we're going to be taking that into October. Tell us a little bit more about Retail Week Live and how you're supporting innovation in the industry.
Absolutely. So Retail Week is the largest gathering of retail leadership in the UK. And as you mentioned, it usually takes place every March, but obviously, given the obvious, we have had to postpone it to October the 7th and 8th later on this year. One of the key features of Retail Week Live is an area called Discovery, where we're delighted to partner with CoCubed on that. And in Discovery, we house 50 of the most exciting startups that we believe are shaking up the retail industry. And throughout the 2 days of the event, we run a pitching competition, which is judged by a group of senior retailers and experts, and some of which you'll meet across the next 4 days, where we then crown who they believe is the startup of the year and the most exciting startup on site. Retailers really love it because they can quickly identify which startups could help add new innovation and ideas to their businesses. So I'm really looking forward to the next hour, which will hopefully give us a taste of what's to come later on in October.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Well, Poppy, we'll be hearing a little bit more from you later. But for now, let's do this. So here's how the next 50 minutes are going to work. In just a second, we'll hear insights from our guest speaker. We're then going to dive into pitches from each of the 6 startups with practical solutions to improving the customer experience. And then at around 2:45, we'll move over to the Expo booth, where you'll meet startups, ask some questions, and connect with other club members. So use the chat bar on your right to say hello, make comments, ask questions as we go. And of course, take a note of the questions you might have for the Expo Zone right after this. But now it's my pleasure to introduce our guest speaker. Morgan Foust is a founder and an investor of high growth startups in the fashion and luxury goods industry. She has a diverse background driving transformation at brands including Thomas Pink, Farfetch, LVMH, and we're delighted to have her here sharing her insights today. Well, Morgan, welcome to the club. Seamless. There we go. I can see you coming on, Morgan. Morgan, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Brilliant. I can hear you. Although I can't. There we go. And I can see you. Even better. Morgan, I gave a brief intro there, but why don't you give us the lowdown on your background?
Yep. So similar to what you said, I've worked in sort of the luxury goods retail space for a long time, and then transitioned to mostly e-commerce around 2011 with Farfetch, and then LVMH, where we were multi-channel certainly, and then I joined Spoke in 2015, 14, somewhere there.
Somewhere
Yeah. And so, we're really early days when I started there. And now the company has grown quite a bit actually. So I'm still an investor, but I'm not there day to day anymore. And I've now looked at investing in other high growth brands.
Okay. And what a fascinating time to be investing in this industry.
Yeah.
Morgan, I'm really interested. Obviously, you've been on this path for a long time from an e-commerce perspective, and then with Spoke as well. But how do you feel COVID's changing the way that retailers relate to customers?
Yeah, so I suppose I start that by thinking about what customers are expecting from us that's changed. And I think they've been through a journey. COVID hasn't been sort of one thing. And so the net result of these last few months we've been on is that customers are feeling more fearful of spending money. And they're also they're looking for ways for you to improve the increased time they're spending at home. So, how do you improve home life? And now as we move into sort of the third stage of going out into the world a bit more, they're looking for us to help them in this increased socially distant world. So that is work, that's education, that's health, athleticism, and so on. And so for us as businesses, we need to meet their changed needs, basically. And there's, a number of different ways that we have to think about doing that. Speaking, one, I think, is just changing the tone of your interactions. I think customers are looking for more gentleness and more generosity in terms of how you interact with them at the moment. I think that we need to be clear about what we're doing to keep our teams safe. That's something that people expect from us. They want an explanation of how our operations are continuing and what we're doing to keep people safe. And I think if we're asking something from them in return, we have to be very clear about why we're asking for it and why that's necessary. So that may be more tolerance around delayed responses. That might be problems that we're experiencing in the supply chain. In some instances with companies I work with, it might even be donations. And so you have to be really articulate about what it is that you're asking back from the customer and why you need to ask that from them, especially now. And then, of course, I think it's also causing companies to change their operations. So, people want you to improve life for them at home. So in theory, you've got to be delivering to them at home, whether that's a physical product or a virtual product. Again, I think you have to be sort of clearer in your messaging. And then, there are some businesses that are flourishing at the moment, and that's not lost on customers. And so I think if you are one of those businesses that's flourishing, you have to think about, again, ways to be generous and to give back to customers.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, very clear in terms of being generous and gentle, also speaking to thrift, how to save money, how to help them feel safe, being clear on the ask and why we need them to take different action. I mean, very clear requirements from retailers there in terms of what needs to happen. What do you think retailers need to really change in this time, and how much of that will be around for like the next 2 to 3 years versus the next 2 to 3 months?
In terms of what they need to change, it's tricky. I think there's going to be some winners and some losers in all of this. Ideally, any existing company would try to figure out a way to pivot. And again, I think some of that pivoting is going to be thinking about reaching customers either at home or satisfying a new socially distant need. And not all companies are built with that product, right? So you might have to pivot into something that's quite different from what you're doing. But I think the customer is really thinking hard about what's necessary right now, more than ever. And that's partly driven by finances. And so you may be able to tick that box for certain individuals because you do something that they love that has nothing to do with social distancing, or, you know, just you are necessary to them. And so thus there may be companies that don't need to pivot, but most are having to pivot at least a little bit to think about, you know, this new world we're living in at the moment. And I think it depends a lot on what your product is. But again, a lot of it is about reaching customers to increase quality of life at home, and then also to increase quality of life or to facilitate social distancing. You know, I know for me, for example, my new favorite toy is this Whoop band that I've bought. And I wouldn't characterize myself as somebody that's particularly comfortable with taking orders from authority, but I do everything Whoop tells me to do. And I've never gotten so much sleep in my life. So, but it's,
what is the Whoop band?
It's a health product, basically.
Okay. You got it there on your wrist?
Yeah, you wear it on your wrist.
There it is.
It's sort of the next generation of Fitbit. And it's gotten a lot of press because it's, you know, theoretically was able to detect that some PGA Tour golfers had COVID before they tested positive for it.
Wow.
Because amongst other things, it tests your respiratory rate and detects small changes in your respiratory rate overnight. But basically, it's a measure of your physical fitness and the strain that you're under. And I think, you know, it's just an example of the kind of product that may not have gotten that much attention a couple of months ago, but because it's health related, because we're thinking about how to optimize our physicality now, it's the kind of thing that COVID has made an opportunity.
Yeah, interesting. And are there any retailers that are already standing out in terms of making this pivot that you're seeing, or do you think it's too early to say?
I think it's a little bit early to say. I mean, I know there's a small organization that I sit on the board with that's a charity that was an educational institution previously, all done entirely in person. So obviously almost all of their revenue came to a virtual halt overnight, and they're having to switch to virtual classes in an industry that isn't particularly well suited to virtual. So they've done a very good job, but that's quite specific and quite niche to them. I think a lot of organizations are trying to do a similar sort of thing. I also see a lot of the clothing retailers that I work with are now making masks who never made masks before. You know, that's sort of a classic example. And again, a huge need for them. And so, you know, it really depends on what you're doing already, I think, is the way that you're going to pivot. I know Ocado is having an absolutely bang up year so far. And some other, you know, e-commerce food companies are doing phenomenally well. And they didn't have to pivot their product so much as just find a way to scale operations to accommodate that kind of growth, which is no small feat, right? I mean, it's, you know, everybody wants to see 60-70% growth year on year. Actually being able to deliver that is not easy to do when you didn't see it coming.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Well, fascinating insights there, Morgan. And it's going to be obviously a very interesting sector to be watching and participating in over the next few months, but also the next few years. But thank you for providing those insights.
Thank you for having me.
Great stuff. All right. So let's get off with our first pitch. So when it comes to cross-selling, offering the perfect bundle means a better experience for customers and increasing revenues for retailers. With an AI solution to help you get it right from increasingly, please welcome Sri. Hi, Sri.
Hi.
Good to see you. All right. Over to you, mate.
Thank you very much. Hi. So my name is Sri Sharma. I'm CEO and co-founder. I think I've got about 2 minutes to tell you a little bit about Increasingly. To help retailers transform how they help their customers and how they help, in the meantime, to grow basket revenue. A really, really novel approach to increasing basket revenue. Novel in one way, novel not so in another. You've all heard of the term bundling, but actually most retailers, in fact, 98% of retailers don't manage to do it effectively until we came into the market. Of course, Amazon does. Amazon does many things effectively. They've got a feature in their site called Frequently Bought Together, which is powered by machine learning, particularly neural networking, that we took huge inspiration from. And we scaled that across a retailer's proposition on site and into marketing. And if you can see the screen grab on the left of where it talks about increasingly in the slide, you can see a kit or a collection or a bundle appear on Instagram. And that's one of our implementations on Instagram, on Google Shopping, and of course on the retailer's site. It's entirely powered by machine learning. It's self-learning. And the experience back to the retailer's site is seamless because there's no work for the retailer to do, no extra SKU to be created, and it delivers a better return on ad spend from any advertising. So in Instagram, think thousands of ad creatives. On Google Shopping, think thousands of extra bundles that you can sell rather than single products. And on site, think about a better experience for the customer, because a customer is never really looking to buy one thing, but they're looking to complete a look, a beauty regime, or a project. We work with over 65 clients now globally, from Samsung to HP to Boots Walgreen to Wix, a home improvement company. We've won e-commerce product of the year 2 years running, and best use of AI with Samsung. So there's really something different in what we're doing. And fundamentally, it works. We're growing site-wide revenue for retailers, typically 10 to 15% increase in terms of incremental increase in revenue. So kind of going full circle, my name is Sri Sharma. I'm CEO and co-founder of Increasingly, incredibly passionate about helping retailers be successful, and fundamentally doing that through helping the customer, because that's what it all starts. So hopefully that gives you a brief overview.
Brilliant. And impressive numbers there, Sri, in terms of 65 different clients and 10 to 15% increase in revenue. I mean, that's amazing. I'd love to hear a little bit more. Can you tell us maybe about one or two of those customers and the results that you're seeing?
Yeah, for sure. So a couple of different examples. One is, let's take Wix, for example, the home improvement company, several 100,000 in revenue, 100 million in revenue on site alone. And they measured on their end through their Google Analytics that we added 10 million extra revenue. So that's not ours. It's not our data, it's their data. And that's through the power of the technology. If I give you another example, Party City in the US, they have 950 stores, a $300 million site in the US. Their parent company manufactured 40% of the world's balloons, so we're talking big scale. And we've added 6% incremental revenue to their on-site proposition, 6%. And that's a lot of zeros based on a split test in Adobe Analytics as measured by them. So the technology really works, and the devil's in the detail, and I'd love to take you through that.
Amazing. Very cool. Well, Sri, you're going to be joining the other startups in the booth right after this, so lots to discuss there. But for now, it's time to jump to our second company. Thank you, Sri. So understanding who customers are and what they want is key to offering personalized experiences. Using data science to decode customers, from Hyper, please welcome Peter. Peter, over to you. Oh, Peter, I'm not sure where you are. Just click on that blue button in the top right there, Peter, to request access. To try and share your audio. Otherwise, we might have to jump to the next company. Okay, I tell you what, Peter, we'll come back to you, hopefully if we can get things working there. But let's jump into our next company. Two words that just a few months ago weren't really in our vocabulary, but are now integral to the retail experience, is social distancing. With a solution to help retailers ensure a safe environment and the environment that Morgan talked about, giving them a positive experience. From Quindini, here's Imogen. Imogen, over to you.
Hi, thank you, thanks. Hi everyone, my name's Imogen Weatherhead and I'm CEO and founder at Qdini. We help retailers to offer safe and engaging shopping experiences during COVID-19 and outside of COVID-19, helping to improve sales and loyalty. And that's through software to manage queues. So enabling customers to queue virtually, whether to enter the store, receive service, or to collect online orders. or enabling customers to book appointments. So appointment booking software that enables customers to book time to speak with advisors or to just visit the store even. So there's my slide there. Enabling customers to book time to visit the store or receive service, whether in person or even online as virtual service. We're working with a number of brands to help them with their COVID-19 experience, including Dixon's Carphone. We're powering their drive-through click and collect experience. Samsung, we're helping customers to queue virtually to enter the store or to book time to speak with advisors in store or online. We're also helping Brown Thomas department stores, ICOS, and also Asda, helping customers to queue to virtually enter the store to go grocery shopping. So please feel free to come and chat to us in our Expo booth later. I'd love to share some live demos and also some of the results that we've seen with retailers.
Incredibly timely, and obviously massive opportunity for you guys right now. What's the process in getting brands on board, and how easy is it to get retailers set up?
So yeah, so since we've kind of really improved our sign up and onboarding process, because we've had an influx of interest since kind of April. So we can literally get brands set up within a week and managing queues virtually or taking appointments within a week.
Okay, amazing. Amazing. Well, let's jump into our third startup. But for now, thank you, Imogen. We'll see you in the booth.
Thanks, everyone.
So predicting what's going to happen in the retail industry has never been easy. And today it's even more volatile than ever. Combining the art and science to help make savvier decisions, from Pekin, please welcome Asher. Asher, over to you.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. My name is Asher Geffen. I lead business development at Pekin. We help retailers make better decisions based on their data and creating prediction based on their data, enabling the retailers to create predictive models around understanding what takes their customers, who is going to leave them and why, identifying up and cross-sale opportunities, identifying high lifetime value customers, basically enabling the business analysts and the business units to create predictive models and basically democratizing the capability to create predictions that ultimately help make better decisions and increase revenue. We also help create predictions based on increasing revenue, but also more importantly in these times, identifying new demand trends and help retailers predict demand in the new normal in order to make them a lot more cost efficient, helping the supply chain to be more efficient by identifying in the new demand trends in this new normal what item is planned to be in demand, and therefore what needs to be in stock and what needs to be replenished. We basically help simplify the modeling process and enable retailers to use all of their data that's at their disposal, and also external data that can be enriched and affect the predictions in a very easy way. So taking into account also your point of sales, your ERP, any data that can be relevant, and enabling the business users that do not have to be data scientists to create that predictive model in a very easy, business-friendly use cases. So basically, we help retailers create those predictions and be able to deal with uncertainty with a much better way, and still being able to understand their customers, create a personalized offering, and manage their supply chain with more certainty than they could have in these challenging times. More in the booth, if anyone wants to hear more, I could show a live demo and talk use cases that we've been helping retailers with.
Okay, fantastic. I mean, Asher, at the moment, it feels like every retailer I talk to is creating a new 12-month plan every few days. Given like the change that's going on, how can AI be used to help plan for the new normal?
Well, I think that's the beauty of AI, that from a data set that's not very large. I mean, let's put it, I think everybody agrees that historical data is not so relevant now. So anything like before January, demand trends are totally different. So the beauty of AI is that you can take the data of the last few months, say after the markets have been opening. And even with the last few months, AI modeling knows how to identify nuances and intricacies that can help create predictions at a very significant precision level that can help predict even not the next 12 months, but the next few months, even do a weekly prediction of what do you need to have in stock and what cross-sale can you offer.
Look, lots to talk about in the booth. I'm sure lots of people would be interested in that demo there. So we'll leave those discussions there. Thank you very much, Asher.
Sure. Thank you for having me.
Cool. Let's move to our next company. So when it comes to payments and receipts, customers want security and convenience. With a solution that provides a seamless experience for customers and a new engagement channel for retailers, here's Flux. And from Flux, we have Freddie. Freddie,
hey guys,
welcome to the club.
Hey, how's it going?
Yeah, good. Thank you.
Good. So I'll kick off. So we're Flux. We're a fintech from London, really building a network of retailers, customers, and banks. So we have technical integrations with banks, and our API connects retailers to customers via their payment card. So unlocking a completely new data set. So essentially, as a customer makes a payment at one of our retail partners, in real time, we match that transaction to data that banks have and we're getting from banks, essentially allowing us to identify that customer. We'll then provide them with an itemized digital receipt, essentially sits in their banking app. And in the wake of COVID-19, providing a contactless experience at till is paramount for keeping staff and customers safe. But really that receipt serves as the infrastructure for a number of different products and services. And essentially every receipt delivered is capturing a new data for retailers to understand things like customer behavior, customer frequency, recency, what type of products are they buying, but also serves as a means to retarget customers based on previous spending, so providing relevant cashback offers that relate to what they've purchased in the past. We also let retailers offer card-linked loyalty, so customers can connect their bank card to their loyalty card to increase adoption, increase swipe rates and things like that. And also we can enable retailers to acquire new loyalty members directly from banking apps and use the receipt as a way to drive customers back to their own digital ecosystem. Currently, we're live on and integrated with banks like Barclays, Monzo, Starling. We're also working with some of the UK's largest retailers like KFC, Just Eat, and Shoe. And there are a number of use cases that this new data set unlocks, and I'm happy to chat through any of these possibilities in the booth afterwards.
So you mentioned some of the customers that you have, like KFC, Shoe, Just Eat. I mean, impressive names there. Why do they decide to work with you? What's your USP?
Yeah, great question. I think really giving them the opportunity to turn every transaction into a learning, capturing GDPR compliant data, and how retailers use that data varies massively. So KFC, for example, they want to focus on their loyalty program, making it as accessible as possible, and reducing customer time at till, reducing and removing friction. So for them, they're focused on card-linked loyalty. Whereas someone like Just Eat, they want to get smarter with how they run targeted offers. So looking at what customers have bought in the past and targeting based on that. And then for someone like Shoe, it's slightly different. For them, they want to provide the best customer experience. They offer a 365-day return policy. So, our receipts, digital receipts, allow customers to not have to worry about losing receipts and things like that. And we can manage the whole returns process. I think finally, in terms of what's been going on recently with COVID as well, as I mentioned, offering that completely contactless experience at till is becoming more and more important. That's something we've seen a huge spike in retailers asking from us as well.
Okay, fascinating. Very cool. Thank you, Freddie.
Yes, guys, thank you.
Good stuff. So when it comes to engaging with consumers, there's never been so many platforms and so many channels to consider. So helping retailers engage more often and more effectively, from ServiceDoc, please welcome Ushin.
Hey, thanks, Jeremy. Ushin Ryan, CEO and founder of ServiceDoc. So I'm betting most of you use WhatsApp to communicate with friends and family, and you do that in a way that you never did with the likes of email, Twitter, or Facebook. So messaging connects people in a way that social media never has. And hopefully in 2 minutes time, you'll see how critical it can be for the future success of physical stores. So ServiceDoc is a messaging app that makes it easy for store staff to communicate with local customers via popular messaging channels like WhatsApp, Google's business messages, Facebook Messenger, web chat, and more. And we do that for sales, service, and feedback. So key thing to note here is that we're not asking your customers to download a new app. They use the apps they already have on their phones, our web chat, and your staff use one simple app to reply, the ServiceDoc app, and hopefully you can see that on your screens right now. So as usual, I'm sure you want to know, how do we add value? What's the point? So basically, we can help you do things like drive footfall by increasing the conversion rate of local search results to store visits. And we do that by leveraging Google's new business messages solution. We can help you improve in-store conversion rates by breaking down the barriers between staff and customers before they enter the store. Staff can even send videos showcasing products to start the sales process remotely, really apt at this time. We can help you improve customer experience and monitor the customer's perception of your social distancing measures by capturing real-time customer feedback via messaging and delivering insights directly to store managers so they can actually take action locally. And on top of all that, our live dashboard delivers oversight, insight, and customer data to the head office. That can help you improve customer acquisition costs online and chain-wide customer experience and lots more. So store messaging was going to become the norm eventually anyway, in my opinion. But the way it solves so many of the problems caused by social distancing measures means now is the time to implement it. And ServiceDoc is a light solution. It's easy to use, purpose-built for retail chains, and we also offer a free trial. So basically, it's a very easy thing to test in a few stores and decide for yourself if it adds value, and be happy to talk a bit more about it in the booth. Thank you.
Cool. I'm interested though. I mean, messaging's been around for a long time. You sort of alluded to it there in terms of COVID, but why do you think retailers should be implementing this sort of stuff now?
Yeah, so I mean, I think the first thing I'd say is everyone's using it, as you just said. Grannies, teens, everyone's on a messaging app of some description. Secondly, if you haven't already heard of Google's business messages, I think you should acquaint yourself with it as a retailer, because it's really going to drive adoption of messaging in stores as a channel in the way that only Google can, I suppose. It basically works the exact same way as the click to call button, but it's a click to message button, and it gives the customer direct access to your store staff via messaging. And but I suppose, look, it is really social distancing that's the driver right now. Some retailers have reported to us that they've seen a 20-fold increase in customer contact because people are looking to be reassured, do you have X, Y, and Z product? Before they kind of run the gauntlet of queues and masks and what have you. So we make it easy. Messaging makes it easy for both the store and the staff member. And look, the final thing I'd say is we're really only playing catch up on this. The likes of China and Brazil have been doing this sort of stuff for quite a while. And the decision is really, do you want to be an early adopter and reap the benefits, or maybe wait and see and miss out on that opportunity?
Okay, very clear, and lots to talk about in the booth there. I noticed Peter jumped onto screen a little bit before, so let's try and get his pitch in too before we head over to the booths. So just to recap, in terms of what Peter's doing, Hyper is doing an amazing job of personalization. So I will let Peter explain all of the goodness about that right now. There we go. Peter, over to you.
Lovely. Thanks, Jeremy. Gremlins with my computer there, so we've reverted to the phone. So it's Peter Denby. I'm a co-founder at Hypergroup, so consumers, as consumers, we have an inherent need to be recognised and understood as individuals. In fact, McKinsey state that 83% of customers would like to see their shopping experience personalised in some way. Research suggests that personalisation, effective personalisation, can increase store revenues by 20 to 30%. Despite that, retailers still tend to make a lot of decisions without the customer at the heart of that decision. So decisions might be made based on gut feel, what sold well last year, or even available space on physical and virtual shelves. And the result is that Customers don't necessarily get the excellent experience that they want, and retailers suffer from reduced revenue and profit from their customers being less loyal. So at Hypergroup, we've developed a software platform that enables retailers to use data science to put customers at the heart of their decisions, and those decisions typically relating to product range, pricing, supply chain, and personalized marketing. So at the core of our product is a super fast cloud-based architecture that enables ETL, feature engineering, and machine learning all in one place. We have an analytics engine that performs Affinity Analytics at extreme speed and creates and understands customer need states using anonymous multi-channel data. Now, Affinity Analytics, basically that means looking at the relationship between people and the products that they buy. And need states are really a way of looking at the way that customers make decisions about the products that they buy. And our platform allows you to predict the impact of decisions, such as in the case of product range, if I remove a product from the range or I substitute the product, where will demand be transferred to? Or decisions like what's the optimal set of products for each individual store based on the customers who actually shop that store. We also have a very easy to use visual UI that gives non-people access to powerful insights from data science that help them make improved customer-led decisions. So our solutions are backed up by our own knowledge and experience working for big consumer brands such as Walmart, Asda and Sky, and also innovative data analytics and technology companies. We offer expert and pragmatic guidance on how to apply and implement our products. Don't just kind of leave you to go on your own. And since our inception in April 2019, we've been working with the likes of Asda, Beaverbrooks and Studio Retail. Also proud to be helping the NHS to use data and analytics to combat COVID-19. We're very passionate about using data to understand consumer behaviour and then using the insights created to help our retail clients to improve revenue, decrease cost and increase profit for their business. Thanks.
Excellent. Peter, I'm just interested in terms of, obviously personalization is a hot topic right now, but what does it actually mean from a hyper perspective?
So it is a hot topic, overhyped perhaps, and I think mostly when people talk about personalization, I think they're really talking about when you're browsing the internet, having the web browsing session customized to you, and there's a lot of software vendors out there who will do that based on your kind of browsing behavior. But for us, it's a much broader topic than that. It's all about the overarching customer experience. How can you deliver a great experience, the right product range, pricing, product availability, etc. The way that we actually achieve that is we use the same underlying analytics to do that. So customer need states, affinity analytics attributes, and they all kind of work together. So if you understand your customers better, you can design a product range that's going to meet their needs. You can price it in an optimal way. You can make sure the product's available when the customer wants to buy it, and then you can market it in engaging ways. So it's kind of a virtuous circle from that perspective.
Okay, very cool. Very cool. Okay. Thank you, Peter. I'm glad that worked out. Great job with the pitch. So a massive thank you to all 6 startups for those pitches. Hopefully that's whet your appetite and given you desire to talk more with the companies, because in just a second, we're going to be heading over to the Expo section where it's your chance to ask some questions and find out more about the solutions that you've seen today. But first, here to tell us more about what's coming up in tomorrow's session, please welcome back Poppy. Poppy, what's on the cards for tomorrow?
Thanks, Jeremy, and thanks again to all the startups. Some amazing pitches there. If you liked what you saw and were interested, you can also meet all of the startups in person at Retail Week Live on the 7th and 8th of October. And we've also got over 120 world-class speakers, including the likes of Malcolm Walker, the MD of Iceland, Alessandra Bellini, the Chief Customer Officer at Tesco, and coming in from India, Pranav Saxena, the VP of Product from Flipkart, just to name a few. So if anyone wants to get a ticket, it's live.retailweek.com. So tomorrow, it's all about the Digital Collaborators Tribe. We'll be hearing from another 6 startups with solutions to help you take your e-commerce to the next level. So same time, same place, 2 p.m. tomorrow. Hopefully see you there.
Brilliant. Thank you, Poppy. Well, right now, it's time to head over to the Expo Zone. That's on the left-hand margin. Click on Expo. Turn your cameras on and just go to a booth that you are interested in. Of course, you can skip around all 6 of them if you want to. There's a blue button at each booth as well where you can share your contact details. That will go straight through to the startup. And then, of course, if you've got questions, you can do that via your camera or via the chat bar on the right-hand side there as well. But thank you for joining today, and we'll see you back here, same time, same place tomorrow. Bye-bye.